It's the hottest week of the year. What is the most ironic thing that you can do on the hottest week of the year? Well, it's not just preparing for Christmas. Today, we're actually going to be planting the starts for our fall garden. So let's get to it. Generally towards the end of August, 1st of September, it's time to get our seeds started, because as soon as this heat breaks from the summer, we want to be putting our plants in the ground for our fall harvest and our winter garden. We're in zone 8B, and our true winter really doesn't get started till about Christmas time. So we can sneak in a fall planting of late summer crops and our fall vegetables and get that harvested before winter hits right around the Christmas time. Down in 8B where we're at, we can expect our first frost around the first week of November. But we really don't get a killing frost until later in November and on into December, that we can expect maybe down into the 20s. This past year on Christmas week, we had a very hard freeze down to 17 degrees. I've talked about it many times previously. This year, I have searched out for hybrid varieties, stuff that does really well for our area. And one of the things I'm talking about is Brussels sprouts. We have never had luck with Brussels sprouts where we are at. Others have, so I've switched over to try to grow the varieties that they have been growing, and we're going to try our hand at Brussels sprouts this year. Now, the varieties that I'm going to be growing for Brussels sprouts are Dragon, right there. And you can see I ordered my seeds from High Mowing Seeds off their website. And I've also ordered a few others. We'll be going over those. Brussels sprouts. We were talking about how much of everything we're going to be planting before we started this video. And so we're looking at planting about 12 Brussels sprouts. And we picked that number because there's 6 slots in each row on this large cell and this 72 cell tray. This is a 50 cell tray and this is a 72, and I've got 2 of the 72 cell trays here prepped and ready to go. We went and bought the Jiffy Seed Starting Mix. And a side note, this is the first time I've ever used the Jiffy Seed Starting Mix. I normally just take my potting soil and just kind of sift out all the bigger stuff and just kind of plant in the finer stuff. But so far I'm pretty happy with the Seed Starting Mix. We're just going to dabble some holes right here. 6 of those. Throw in 12. And I'm only going to plant these about 1/4 inch, just below the surface. Some people will just bounce them right out of the package, and that's fine. I've done it both ways. I typically find that if I try to bounce them out of the package, I get more than just one seed. I don't have a shortage on seed sales this year. I've got more sales than I do seeds, I think. So we're only going to put 1 seed per hole this time around. And I usually expect about 80% success rate, so you can expect to lose 1 or 2 plants between here and the time they actually get planted out. So we're going to do Dagan Brussels sprouts. We're going to put those right there. I chose Dagan because it's an F1 hybrid, and from what I've seen, people down in the hot south tend to have more success with these actually setting Brussels sprouts. I've tried the Catskill Brussels sprouts before. I never had much luck. I didn't have any luck with them. We planted a bunch of them last year, and we didn't get one single Brussels sprout out of everything. For one, it takes more than 90 days to get a Brussels sprout, and I think the days to maturity on this one Okay, this is 100 days. So it's 20 days less than the other variety that I had tried. Something we're going to try for our very first time this year. We're going to try some celery. I got red celery from Baker Creek, and then from High Mowing Seeds, I got Marengo. You can see the name of it right there. And then this is another hybrid. I really like the hybrids because they seem to just perform so much better. There's a lot of research that goes into breeding seeds, a lot of money. People are investing hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars into bringing to market a high quality seed that's disease resistant, that tastes good, and that fruits well. So the only drawback is if you get into a survival situation where the market crashes and your economy's on lockdown, or something crazy, and you're not able to get seeds, I always keep an heirloom of everything that I grow. I'm putting more than, I'm running my mouth and not paying attention to what I'm doing. I've double planted 2 of those cells there. So we got 6 cells of the hybrid celery, and I'm going to come back with the giant red celery.
Do you want to mark that?
Yeah. We're going to put our red celery here, Marengo celery there. And rather than try to pull those other seeds out of there, I'm just going to put the red celery right on through here. I'll pop 1 or 2 of the red seeds in with those other 2 cells of the hybrids. This will be really interesting. No experience whatsoever growing celery, so this will be a new thing we're doing this year, and we'll let you guys know how it performs for us down here in the hot south. But other people have had luck with them, and so we're optimistic. So we're going to set these to the side. All right, one of my favorite things to grow in the fall that we eat the most of, and that's broccoli. We ordered these seeds last year from Hoss. We've got Green Magic, and we've got Marathon. Green Magic is a shorter harvest period. This is 55 days, and Marathon is 70 days. So you want to kind of succession harvest these. So we can plant these both at the same time. We can expect to harvest the Green Magic, and then a week or 2 down the road, we can come right behind it and have Marathon getting ready. But you can look at our previous video that we did on our harvest of broccoli last year, and man, these things really did good for us. And again, I think this is another hybrid variety. I'm not seeing it on there, but I don't think it's an heirloom. And we're going to do 12 of each one of these. Just because we eat so much broccoli. We harvest it, we blanch it, and then we freeze it in gallon-sized bags. Again, when I'm sitting here doing this, more than 1 seed seems to be coming out most of the time. I'm getting at least 2. Now, if you get more than 1 coming up in the tray, the hardest thing in the world is to thin your plants. But select the strongest plant and pinch out those other 2, because if you try to leave just more than one plant growing in the same hole, you're not going to get a good harvest at all out of two plants in the same hole. That one plant needs all the nutrition in its area to produce a nice big head for you. So that was Green Magic. So let's put the Green Magic marker right here. These two over here will be Marathon. Seeds are generally good for more than 1 year, but once you go past 2 years, germination rate tends to go down, and it looks like we're going to end up not having much seed left over for next spring anyway. But I'm sure next spring we'll use what we have left here, but I'm going to have to order more broccoli seed. And I can tell you I'm going to be going with this already. This has just been such a wonderful variety for us. Next week, I mentioned it was going to be the hottest week of the year, and I hope it is the hottest week of the year. We're forecasted to be 106 one of those days. So I think we're having 102, 104, 106, 104, and 104 days next week. So it's going to be brutal. There's no forecast of rain in the middle of all that. It's going to be high heat, and I'm going to be in summer hibernation mode, which means I'm just going to be sitting inside doing whatever I can do. Thinking about the fall. All right, so we've got broccoli done. So we'll set that to the side. Right along broccoli, we do cauliflower. I've only ever had one variety of cauliflower to ever do anything for me, and it's Twister. Twister seems to do really well here. That's a hybrid variety, 75 days to maturity. We're going to do 12. There are other hybrid varieties. I don't have any experience with the other cauliflower. I have tried growing the purple variety of cauliflower and the yellow varieties. They just don't seem to do very well. This hybrid white seems to do really good for us, so I'm just sticking to it. We don't eat as much cauliflower as we do broccoli, so we don't plant as much cauliflower. There we go. I've got enough in there for spring of next year, so that's good. Set that to the side. Twister cauliflower going in right there. I'm actually going to put it here. Cover that up. Now that's going to do it for this 50 cell tray. So let's go ahead and move on to our next 50 cell tray. So we're going to set this to the side. All right, so moving on, I've got another tray here. It's a 72 cell. I've went ahead and dibbled my holes, but we got 3 varieties of cabbage that we're going to be planting. I got a hybrid Stonehead, and Stonehead is a larger variety. It makes a nice big head. It'll be a later in the season thing for us to harvest, but I love sauerkraut, so I'm going to be using some of these cabbage to make sauerkraut with. And I believe that's Green Boy. That's another hybrid variety, and it is 80 days to maturity. And then here's a red variety called Ruby Perfection. And I had really good luck with this last year, and I've never really had good luck with red varieties before, but there's the name of it. So we'll be planting some red, maybe doing some red sauerkraut. Let's go ahead and get started with the red variety. We're just going to do 6 of each variety. And that'll be enough cabbage for us. We really don't eat a lot of cabbage. It kind of messes with our digestive tract. But I've never made cabbage sauerkraut before. And I want to do that this year, so we're going to give that a shot. All right, that's Ruby Perfection, so we'll grab our tag to go right along with that. Now it is so hot outside that we are not going to be able to get these seeds to sprout very well, because if it's just too hot, these seeds are not going to come up. So we're going to have to start these in the house somewhere to where we keep it about 73 degrees here. And that's about right for starting seeds. So we're going to have to start our seeds inside. I've never started our seeds inside before, but this year's a little bit different with the, Michelle says no.
Gnats. They draw gnats and bugs. Regardless of what you say, when we had them out there in the Florida room, there's tons of gnats and bugs out there around the dirt.
All right, so we're going to have to find a place that's temperature controlled. All right, so now we got Green Boy. Go do 6 of those. And it looks like we got 2 on each hole. That's the drawback to just directly out of the package like that, is you just get more than 1 coming out. So if you're shy on seeds, you gotta be extra careful when you're brushing them out of the package like that. They just want to roll right on out. And then Stonehead. All right. Cover those up. All right. We're going to be doing some kale next, but I just want to overview everything that we're going to be doing. I just got some curly blue kale, and then we've got dazzling blue kale from Baker Creek there. So those are the 2 kale. Michelle likes kale in her salad, so we're going to plant her some kale. I like cilantro on my tacos, and if you ever get cilantro growing and you let it go to seed, you will always have cilantro in your garden, because once it goes to seed, it just keeps coming back. But this last freeze that we had took out all my cilantro, so I didn't get it didn't reseed for me this year, so we got to start cilantro over again. We've got 90 days left before our first scheduled frost, and we had really good luck with our delicata squash and these little butternuts called honey nut. This is so good of a little butternut squash that your larger butternut, now these aren't the large varieties, these are the next step up from that, but there is a night and day difference between the baby and I can't remember the name of this variety. We're going to plant another round of winter squash and try to get that harvested before our first frost hits. But we're going to be planting these in the self-watering planters. In case anything happens, we can move them in a safe location and try to finish out that harvest. In our in-ground garden, we're going to be doing another round of rutabagas. Over here in this tray, we always do onions every year. I've got the Valdelia type, which is the Texas Grano 502. If you ever like the Valdelia onions, those real sweet onions you get in the grocery store, they're kind of flat, and they're nice and big around. That's what you're eating right there, is the Texas Grano. So we're going to be planting 50 of those, and then I have a red variety of onion called Red Grano, and so we're going to be planting 50 of those. We'll always use the yellow for slicer onions on our hamburgers and stuff, and anything that we want to keep, we always cut up into slivers and freeze those right into gallon bags, and those keep very well for over a year in the freezer. And then we just take those out and put those into our stir fries whenever we want glazed onions. In our in-ground garden, we're going to be doing mustard greens. I've got white egg turnips. I'm going to be planting these again. These didn't do very well for us last year, but I'm going to try it one more time before I call it quits. And Just Right does not do very well for us, but we're going to give him one more chance. Now, Mr. Chris Purvis, that I go to church with last year, gave me some Japanese turnips. These did perform for us last year very well. I've got a lot of seed there that he gifted me. So we're going to be planting another round of Japanese turnips. Michelle eats a lot of salads, so we plant a lot of lettuce. We're going to be doing Ruby Red, Iceberg, Great Lakes, Black-Seeded Simpson, Black-Seeded Simpson again, and romaine, red salad bowl, and Bibb lettuce. Now you're probably wondering, what packages are these white packages I keep showing you with the handwriting across? I go to my local feed store, and in bins and in big cans you can buy your seeds, and they are a lot cheaper. Like, I bought a big scoop of lettuce seeds for 25 cents. So that's how I buy those seeds if I can. I buy a big thing of rutabagas like that, and that was 50 cents. You see it marked right there. That's a whole ounce of rutabaga seeds for 50 cents. So if you have a feed store in your area, go to your feed store and check them out. See what they have that you can buy. And they generally only order stuff that does very well in our area. I've never seen a seed store in our local town to carry a seed that doesn't grow very well for us. They always carry the stuff that always grows very well for us. Now, every year we grow carrots, but this time we decided to switch it up. We generally grow the big long carrots because in our carrot raised bed we have really sandy soil. But this year we're going to try something different. Yeah. We're going to try Kuroda carrots. People have raved that these are really good tasting carrot. We're going to give those a try. We're going to give Yellowstone yellow carrots a try from Himo & Seeds, and a red variety called Dragon. So I'm excited to grow those and see how those turn out for us. We're going to throw in just a little bit of dill. Dill always seems to grow good in the cooler weather. And spinach. Michelle's favorite thing to eat as far as salads is spinach. I like a little bit of spicy mustard, so I always plant at least one of those. One of those is all you need because they make huge, gigantic leaves, and that is a hot variety of mustard, and you can only eat just so much of that stuff. I really like the flavor of arugula. Michelle doesn't, and that's one that you have to really get acquired the flavor to because it has a very pungent flavor.
But it's very healthy for you, so.
It is, and I like the way it tastes. I'll go out to the garden and I'll just eat the arugula by itself because I enjoy that flavor. All right, so we're going to be redoing the front flower bed. We're adding window boxes to the front of the house. So Michelle and I have discussed, what are we going to be putting in those flower boxes? Well, since we're heading into the cooler season, we're going to go ahead and start out some pansies. These are Swiss Giants. I just picked these up. And believe it or not, a lot of the big box stores are packing up seeds. And generally, if you're doing a fall garden, you better buy your seeds well in advance because they're already packing up your seed shelves and shipping those back to your suppliers. But I was lucky to pick up a few packages of seeds. We're also going to be doing some snapdragons. So we're going to be putting those in the flower boxes and getting our front flower bed planted out this year in some nice flowers. That was just a big summary of everything that we're doing in the fall. And I dare to say that our fall garden is our largest garden. I really enjoy the fall garden. I like the break from the heat, and you get the cool crisp crispness of the fall air, and I just love to get out in the garden and garden that time of the year. To me, that is a really enjoyable time to get out and do a lot of gardening. And so, all right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button if you liked it. Hit the share button if you really liked it. Remember, keep growing, keep building, and always keep adventuring. Together, we're Flemington Famous. We'll see you on the fall garden update. Thanks for watching. All right, guys, just a little quick update. It has been exactly 72 hours since we planted these seeds. And you can see that with it being so warm outside, that these are already popped the ground. And I came out here yesterday at 48 hours, and most everything is already starting to show above the ground. It was just barely starting to show, kind of like that little one right there beside the one that's popped. They were all at this little stage yesterday. So 72 hours, because it's so warm, everything is already got going. And you can see that we elected to not put this in the house, mainly because Michelle said not to. So we put it out here in the shade house where I got it under pecan trees and with shade cloth under it. So it gets very little sunshine, mostly just dappled light. But I think the thermostat today is 102 before the heat index. And they did come up. I was kind of wondering that if they would stay dormant because it was so hot out, and clearly they've decided they're ready for the fall also, and they've popped the ground and got going. Hope you enjoyed the video. All right, before we go any further, I just want to mention that it really doesn't matter as far as your spring tags, but if you want to keep the ink on your garden tags longer than just a month or two, because Sharpie markers and stuff like that, they tend to fade in a garden. Get the cattle ear tag. This is Sharpie. Okay, you're going to have to cut that out. That whole thing was a bust. I don't have my cattle ear tag.